What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the EPM show. This is all things enterprise performance management, and we're here to give you an unfair career advantage. Today, we are joined by Anjali chhajed, and she is the solutions lead for finance platforms at Mass Mutual. And we talk a lot today about how to thrive through career transitions. Her journey has been full of change that has helped her really grow her career in an impressive way. She's gone from a traditional finance role, moved into EPM consulting, and then to multiple customer roles, ranging from the crypto industry to insurance. So, just very different industries, really cool background. And let's talk specifically about a couple of things. First, how to grow your career to customer and some of the underrated benefits of being an industry, and the importance of being an intrapreneur and how that can lead you into really unique opportunities, specifically when you're working in industry. Third, why it's important to approach career changes with a balance of confidence and humility. We want to have the confidence to know that we can thrive through this transition, but also the humility to ask for help and ask questions and make peace with ourselves that our first 90 days won't be our best performance, and that's okay. And then finally, the power of reflection and how reflecting has helped her overcome obstacles in her career. I hope you get a ton of value out of this episode and enjoy it as much as I did. Check it out. So I'm going to jump right in here and ask you to give us your career flyover in 60 seconds.
Hi everyone, this is Anjali. I did my chartered accountancy back in India, which is like a CPA here, but it's a lot more difficult. After that, I worked there for a few years on a really very diversified portfolio, but mostly in finance and operations domain. I moved to US in 2015 for my master's in technology management from UIUC. And after I graduated, I joined a small consulting company in Chicago, and that's where I got introduced to Anaplan. And I moved to Bay Area in 2018 and with another consulting company working on Anaplan projects. Most of my consulting career, I worked on some pretty good large global implementations for Google, Seagate, Kellogg's in variety of use cases like FP&A, T&Q, supply chain. So it was really diversified experience even within Anaplan space. Then I wanted to move out of consulting. I joined Coinbase early in 2020 as their resident expert for Anaplan. And recently I've joined Mass Mutual as their head of Anaplan practice.
Crushed it. That was amazing.
Thank you.
I can't wait to dig in more to some of your experiences. Before we do that, though, we also like to ask a fun question just to kind of get to know you on a personal side. So, what is your dream vacation?
That's a great question because I'm honestly trying to figure out my dream vacation. I'm trying to travel a lot more this year than what I've done in like past few years because of COVID, but in my entire life also. So in last 2 months itself, I have covered San Diego, Portland, Miami, and some of the work related travel to Boston, Washington. But I'm really trying to explore most of America and world as I go. But I think my next dream destination would be I'm planning to go Costa Rica end of this year. So I think after I travel enough, then I would know, okay, this is what I like and this is where I go and I feel relaxed. And then I would be better able to answer that question, I think.
That's great. What is it about Costa Rica that you're most excited about?
I had a friend who left his job and moved there like for 6 months and lived there, worked there, and he sent some pictures. And it overall, it's not just the place, but the culture, the people, and the whole vibe about the place that was exciting. It's not like it's just very scenic and it's beautiful and it's very relaxing, but it's also like people are very friendly and nice and easy to talk to. So I'm quite excited to go there and see it out for myself.
One of the things I've heard about Costa Rica is it's one of those unique places where you can do the beach, but then there's mountains, so you can go hiking, you get the jungle, you can do a ton of different things there. So that's cool. I can't wait to see the pictures.
I'm looking forward to it myself.
That's great. So, just kind of going through your career, I know one of the things that you've done is you've made quite a few key transitions, and they've gone very well for you. So I know you transitioned over from the consulting side to kind of the customer side, and you're learning how to grow your career on the customer side, specifically when it comes to EPM, being the resident expert at Coinbase and Anaplan, and now you're leading the Anaplan kind of practice at Mass Mutual. Tell me a little bit about just what you've learned in your experience on some practical ways to grow your career in EPM at a customer, because we talk to a lot of folks in this space that the consulting side seems a little bit more linear in terms of how you grow your career, but the customer side seems to be a space where you have to get a little bit more creative over the long run.
Sure. I'll start with the transition part. And when I was in consulting, it was always exciting. There are a lot of benefits of consulting. You're always working on new project, working with new people. It's like generally not a dull day. Even if it is dull for a few days, you can always look for a change team, change manager. Anything you are not happy about in consulting, it's relatively easier to change versus if you are in an industry role. And the another benefit of consulting was that you're always up to date. It's easy to stay relevant and keep yourself updated with whatever is latest in the market, whether tools, technology, process, people, industry. When I transitioned, I had two main reasons. First one was visa. There was a lot of complication if you're in consulting. Your visa, if you're on a work authorization, it's dependent on your employment, and in consulting, it can be dependent on your SOW. And Anaplan projects are generally short term, 3 to 4 months, 6 months. And even if you are on a long engagement, which goes year over year, the SOWs are generally only for a year maximum, which means you get the visa approved only for a year, and then you have to keep struggling for filing extensions, RFE. It's like it's a whole different ball game and brings a lot of uncertainty. And the second reason I wanted to move out of consulting was, at least in the early stages of career, in consulting, you are always executing your client's vision. You are basically executing their plan. That's what you're there for. I was recently talking to a friend who is in consulting in Big Four, and we were talking about one of the engagements, and he was telling, Anjali, if you ask us to build a bridge to nowhere, we will build it. We will tell you it will lead nowhere, but if that's what you want, we will build it. And I generally never had that aptitude where I would build a bridge to nowhere, even if that's what I'm being paid for. So that was another reason where I could not say no to certain things that I could not align with in terms of delivery. So I thought, okay, let's try the in-house role, be on the customer side. And it also has a lot of fears of its own because, in consulting, you have a big support system. You generally work with a team. And even if you are the only one on the project, if you're stuck somewhere, if you're not able to move forward with your solution design or in your model building days, you can always reach out to another solution architect or model builder or practice lead to help remove those blockers or to give you the direction. Whereas in an in-house role, and especially if you're in a small, much more lean team, you are the expert and people come rely on you. And if you are stuck, it's on you to remove those blockers and get unstuck by yourself. And it's also constant fear, like there's nobody to do benchmarking easily for you, so you don't know if you are what you're doing is right, if it's really following the industry standards or best practices. How do you compare, how do you benchmark? So those were some of the fears, but I think once you are able to navigate around those fears, I think the industry role has a lot of opportunities in itself. So talking about how to grow your career within the customer track, I think I had those fear early, like I might get just stuck to one platform or one technology, or how would I learn new things? Because I think growing your career is totally dependent on two things: your skill set and your connections. And while you work on multiple projects in consulting and work with multiple teams, network a lot more in industry role, you that is limited, both your exposure to people as well as to technology. But when I joined Coinbase, I actually realized that I think industry role has equal number of opportunities in all the domains. And I can share a little bit of my personal experience so that I'm not just talking high level, oh, you can do this, you can do that. But I can share what opportunities I got in last 3 years, both from system, process, and roles perspective. So it gives some understanding of what's out there. So let's start with system. Like if let's say you are working on Anaplan, you don't have to just be confined to Anaplan. Anaplan also always have some source is has some integration with some source systems or some output systems. So for example, when I joined as the resident expert for Anaplan, but it was very easy for me to learn NetSuite because that was our source system for the recording, financial accounting and reporting part of it. There's always integrations, and if you want to go deeper in that side, you can learn about so many integration tools. And again, the tools that you are integrating with, NetSuite, Coupa, Workday, are some of the most commonly used systems that Anaplan integrate with, apart from the integration tools that Anaplan is using, like Snowflake, CloudWorks, and so on. Later, I got certified in Coupa, which is a procure to pay tool, which was not related to Anaplan, but there was a need in the team and it was an opportunity, and I grabbed it. After some time, the company was changing their expense management system, and I got the opportunity to be part of that. Now, I was not driving that project, but I had enough exposure to learn how that system works, what's in the back behind the scene, what's the process around it. Then we implemented a new system, Zip, for consolidating our procure to report activities and consolidate all integrations. So even though my core profile was in Anaplan, I still could easily learn 5 to 6 other tools in the finance ecosystem. Now, talking about process, we were initially using Anaplan for FP&A. So obviously, you can go deep, you can work with business, understand FP&A process, the nitty gritty, not just whatever is happening within Anaplan, but also happening before or after or outside of Anaplan ecosystem. But then when we also decided to implement Anaplan for people analytics or for marketing, headcount planning, and that way, in my previous implementations, I have learned supply chain, demand planning, sales forecasting, territory and quota planning. So you don't have to be confined to one process, because if you want to go into product management or if you want to go into analyst track, whatever track you choose for your career, the business knowledge and understanding always helps. And this gives you opportunity to have your career not in just in FP&A, but also in numerous other work streams available. There's also so much opportunity to develop your soft skills, and I think this is really underrated. Two fields I would say are: one, recruiting, because unless you are actually hiring for your team, you are generally not a part of the panel, or people don't take too much interest in it because it's very, very time consuming. But I would strongly suggest, if you have opportunity, to even just shadow the recruiters, even if you are not directly hiring, or be part of the panel depending on what stage in your career you are. I think that opens so much opportunities, and it's such a great way to learn because you don't have to just read books or watch online training videos. And last but not the least is like employee engagement initiatives. All companies and in all teams are trying to do some projects. Either they'll form a culture team or partner with HR functions to do things and activities for employee engagement. And I think people, because it's not directly related to your performance management or your bonus or your reviews, we just think it is secondary. And there's also a little bit of gender bias there, where people think, oh, it's a women's job to organize team dinner. And even if you ask for volunteers, you'll get volunteers for employee engagement activities where you, let's say, want to host a lecture series. But if you want to conduct a secret santa, most men would not volunteer, it would be just women. But I think being part of those initiatives opened so many doors for me, because one, it gives you distraction when your work is too hectic or too tense or too stressful, but it also helps a lot with networking, with talking and connecting to people outside your own team, and to understand what's going on in different teams, what's going on in the organization overall, where there is opportunity, where there is new project launching, where you could be a part of the team, and obviously great relationship building. So I think there are so many opportunities available. It's just we need to tap on those opportunities.
You hit so many really important aspects of the opportunities of being on a customer side. The first thing I heard, systems. What I was hearing you say there is you were identifying opportunities for yourself where the business also had needs. So I think you mentioned you got certified in Coupa software, and then Workday, you got exposure to that. So as you were finding opportunities to make the business better, it exposed you to those two softwares, to NetSuite as well. I think you have to be a little bit more intrapreneurial, right? Instead of entrepreneurial, you have to be entrepreneurial. Like, I'm going to go within my organization and find opportunities to add value. And by doing that, I'll also gain exposure to other systems. And then I love that you emphasize the importance of getting into the business and understanding more about business process knowledge as you expand Anaplan's use cases within the company to demand planning, to incentive comp modeling, or territory and quota carving, all that stuff. That's an opportunity for you to plug into the sales organization, understand more about how the company goes to market. Those are fantastic ways for people to expand the business knowledge. And then I obviously love the culture aspect that you mentioned of plugging into employee engagement and recruiting and talent acquisition, because you learn way more about how a business operates beyond just Anaplan. And to your point, you can develop deeper relationships. Whereas if you're in consulting, you're on those 3, 6, 9 months engagements. It's just harder to develop some of those relationships. I'm sure you become a better subject matter expert a little bit more quickly in Anaplan because you experience more at a faster pace. But I think you probably build a wider base in terms of how to run a business and operate a business, maybe on the customer side.
Absolutely. And I would just like to add, I think, that focus on Anaplan while I was in consulting really helped me do all these things without getting burnt out. Because I'm sure everybody has enough on their plate to just do whatever they are supposed to do. And there's only so much energy and time left to get involved with all these extra initiatives and projects. So when you are in consulting and you are focused and you develop the expertise on your core system or tool, or when you develop that niche, that's when you get the opportunity to go venture into other areas and still maintain a good work life balance and not get completely burnt out with that.
That's a good reminder that we have to be selective in how we use our time and our energy, because both are limited. So we have to figure out what the highest ROI is. No, that's great. One of the other things that sticks out to me when I hear about your career is that you've navigated some big transitions. You went from traditional finance role to EPM, and then when you're in EPM, you went from EPM consulting to customer, and then from a customer perspective, you went from high growth crypto startup to insurance. All of those are very, very big transitions. And so, can you maybe take me into those moments, like day one from going from finance to EPM, or day one going from consulting to customer, or day one, most recently, going from, crypto space to insurance? How do you excel and thrive through big transitions in like the first 90 days? What does that look like?
Sure. I think change is not something that you get comfortable with just experience. It's not like life was constant and going great and I reached a milestone in my career and then I decided, oh, I would start changing things. I think it was, at least for me personally, it was always changing. Like even when I graduated from my chartered accountancy, I did not go a traditional route of what generally a CPA or a chartered accountant would do, which is work in either audits or taxation or in core FP&A. So I think in early stages of my career also, I got more comfortable with uncertainty and change, and I think that has just built up over time, and that has helped me overall. But if I have to say, I think generally being comfortable with yourself and more confident in yourself and your abilities definitely helps keep yourself more grounded during the transition period, but also accepting that there would be a learning curve and expecting that there would be a learning curve and making peace with it. Like you will not be delivered at your best performance in your first 90 days. You would be There would be a lot of gray areas, there would be a lot of things you would not know, but you can find out ways to know those things and fill in the blanks there, and not be afraid of asking too many questions or to say that you don't know but I'll get back to you or I'll figure it out, and let how do I find this information, and talking to as much people as you can and letting them know that you don't know but you're trying to learn this. And people do try to generally help you out. Not everybody might or can because they have their plates full, but most people would generally help you if you ask for help. So being able to just say that I don't know and I need help here and asking for help definitely goes a long way in navigating those transitions.
I think you describe a really unique balance that's key for becoming a great leader, which is being able to lead yourself first, but then also eventually others with both confidence and humility. You said you have to make peace with yourself and that you have the ability to grow and thrive in this new position, yet also the realistic expectation that you're not going to be at your best in the first 90 days. And there are things that you're going to have to ask for help on. So just because you have to ask questions or you're asking a lot of questions early on doesn't mean you lack the capabilities and the skill sets to really grow and really thrive.
And two things that really help is I try to, whenever feel like the sky is falling or I'm stuck or I can't move forward, I just remind myself of my biggest success so far, that I have done this. So if I've done that, I can do this also. Like, this is much easier than that. Whatever that biggest success for you is. And I also remind myself of the biggest problem that I have faced and overcome. And I was like, if I can overcome that, I can definitely overcome this.
That's such a great mindset tool. Seriously, the power and reflection of, well, I've already overcome this and I've overcome this and I've faced this obstacle that seemed really big at the time and we got through it. So it makes the one in front of you seem a little bit more manageable.
Definitely.
Anjali, I'm going to get you out of here on this. Do you have any sort of a personal BHAG that's a big, hairy, audacious goal that you're going after in either your career, personal life?
Sure, they're not clearly defined yet. We do have a very ambitious plan, first of all, at Mass Mutual to grow and expand. Just few days back, we were having a conversation where we were thinking, oh, we will, I was asking my boss, like, okay, what's our expansion plan? And she was telling me we want to expand to multiple use cases. And I was thought, okay, we already have a big Anaplan presence at Mass Mutual and a large implementation. So if a large implementation, you generally go double or triple because it's not that easy to grow multifold. But she was talking about growing it 10 times, like we should not have only 10 or 20 models, we should have hundreds of models. So we definitely have really big expansion plans at Mass Mutual, and I'm really excited to see them go through. I do have some personal ambitious plans also. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I do want to travel a lot. And with the profile that I have right now, it's kind of challenging because of spending your 8 hours on meetings in front of the Zoom. So, but I am aspiring to be a digital nomad. I don't know how and when it would materialize, but that's the goal in the near term at least.
All great goals. I can't wait to hear about how the Anaplan practice expands. And then maybe when we do the next round of the EPM show with you, because you're a natural at this, I can't wait to hear where you are because you'll be digital nomading somewhere. So
Hopefully from Costa Rica.
that's the plan, right? Well, hey, thanks so much for being on the show. This was really great and just some incredible career advice for our audience. And we really appreciate your time.
Awesome. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Wherever you're consuming this, if it's YouTube, if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed. We have a lot more amazing guests on the way, a lot more great content. We're doing our best to bring you value and have fun while we do it. We really want this to be a career advantage, listening to this show, and we want you to enjoy it. So it means a lot. Make sure you're subscribed for what's to come. And also, if you're up for it, it would mean a lot if you leave us a like, a comment, a rating, a review, whatever platform you're on. That really helps, and it gets us fired up when we see those. So I appreciate you guys. Find us on LinkedIn. I'm Blake Bozarth, my co-host Chad Pyke with a Y. Would love to connect with you there. Have an awesome day. See you next time. Peace.